This video is going to be brought to you by Gfuel, and as a 90s baby, I'm super proud to say that Gfuel has just released the Duke Nukem Ego Boost Collector's Box. It's a hail to the king, baby, because gaming's best bad boy is finally here. You got a groovy zero sugar combination of cherry, orange, and pomegranate that is sure to have you firing off on all cylinders, dropping heat via witty one-liners, and shooting off aliens into outer space like my favorite boomstick-toting king of the world, Duke Nukem himself. I mean, not only are you getting this super amazing Duke Nukem shake along with the energy tub, but also you're getting an amazing flavor. As you guys know, I love to drink Gfuel. I use it myself. It's one of the things I use for a quick energy boost. As you guys know, I upload on 3 YouTube channels and I still find time to work out, and sometimes you need that pick me up, and I love Gfuel because I don't crash after I use it. By using my link in the description box, you can either buy the Ego Boost Collector's Box, which comes with both the energy formula tub and this super amazing Duke Nukem shaker, or you can buy the energy formula itself. On top of having zero sugar, you also get a healthy dose of antioxidants and vitamins and just enough caffeine to bring out your inner hero. So don't hesitate, use my affiliate link down below or use my promo code KAGE at checkout to get yours today. After the official leak for Boruto Uzumaki Vortex Chapter 9, the next chapter officially coming out next week on the 18th, so we will be getting full leaks very soon. We got that huge panel of Boruto versus Kawaki taking place in the Hidden Leaf Village, but while all the attention was rightfully on Boruto once again handing Kawaki another L, this time without even Kawaki having a hand laid on him, there was something else in the spoiler that grabbed my attention that I wanted to see if more people brought up in the comment section before I decided to make a video dedicated to this or not, which is the fact that Boruto wasn't just fighting Kawaki in the chapter, but he was also throwing down with Delta, who is there with Kawaki in the panel. And I think this poses a bigger question now that we know it's a 2 versus 1 battle, because that changes a lot in terms of what you can expect moving forward, which is we might need to start a conversation on whether or not Boruto could potentially be in trouble here. Now, I know the knee-jerk reaction to all of that is to say, look, there's no way Boruto has any issues with these two, and generally speaking, I would be inclined to agree if we weren't faced with the current circumstances that we have presently. While I do still think Boruto, who has already shown that he is strong enough to take down a Jigen plus level threat and code while only using his base power, not even his full base power at that, Boruto shouldn't lose his fight. I do think there is a conversation to be had about whether or not there are some other factors at play that we have to consider when looking at this 2 versus 1 battle, because I think there's potential for us to be swerved and have our expectations subverted by the narrative itself. Boruto right now, based on this panel, is back in Konoha and he's in a populated area. For that reason, Boruto isn't going to allow the fight to get too wide of a scale, which means we're very likely going to see the trend from Boruto Naruto Next Generations continue, which I know this is something a lot of people don't enjoy. I particularly like it. However, that's basically where you're shifting the focus more so from being more so based on destructive capability like we saw with Naruto fights, and more so focusing on attack potency and limiting the area of destruction, which is a testament to the skill level of all the combatants involved in the battles that we're about to see unfold, because it takes more control over your power and more skill over your power to hit someone with the force to, say, destroy an entire continent or a mountain range, but contain the area of destruction to only whatever part of the body that they're being hit with. While it's likely this 2 versus 1 battle takes that very similar approach, there are a few other factors at play here that would benefit Boruto from fighting too seriously, particularly because he will be prevented from fighting seriously. Say the trio combatants, they take off to the sky, something that I am very much expecting and have been expecting from the moment that Amato told us in Boruto Naruto Next Generations how Boruto and Kawaki would be zipping around naturally before no time, due to both of them being Otsutsuki and Ikimoto's own admittance that Dragon Ball not only inspires his art style, but he uses Dragon Ball for references when drawing the fights. I definitely see flight battles being something added to the upcoming chapters, because it allows for a larger battleground where there's more freedom for the attack patterns. And as we saw with Dragon Ball, the 360-degree potential that's added for the fight it adds another layer of fun to the battles in terms of creativity that the mangaka is able to use to express themselves in the fights that we're going to see. And just as how flight was something that was largely credited with taking Dragon Ball to another level, I think that having battles that showcase flight could do the same thing for Boruto. Boruto's battle is going to be very interesting because Kawaki, whether through his own delusions or due to having something up his sleeves that we don't know about, some super handy dandy secret plan or jutsu that we don't know, or Tsuki power, at the very least he believed that he and Delta, they were gonna have some kind of a chance to stand against Boruto if he had the element of surprise at his side. And while we all can agree it's more than likely delusion more than anything else, we do have to factor in Kawaki at least knows Boruto well enough to know that while they're still in the village and in the surrounding area, Boruto is going to be fighting with a bit of a handicap that he can exploit. Kawaki doesn't have the same attachment to the village that Boruto has, and it gives him more options when going into a fight with them. That brings us to the next point also. Boruto facing these two isn't necessarily a walk in the park because there are some hacks abilities that each has that opens up the door for Boruto to be more cautious in his approach that even he might have ever thought he needed to be when going into a battle, which might sound crazy for a guy who no diff code and blew the guy clean across the village with this Rasengan, but allow me to explain. We've seen before that Kawaki, when he shrinks himself down, it becomes harder to track him unless you have a Sharingan like Sasuke has, which allowed Sasuke to track Jigen even when he suppressed his chakra signature and erased his chakra presence, which bypassed Naruto's sensory ability. But due to the Sharingan being able to see chakras of color, Sasuke was able to see Jigen's location despite him being so small, because erasing the chakra signature doesn't erase the chakra in the body itself. Hence, Jigen said Sasuke was the more dangerous one that needed to be eliminated despite Sasuke being much weaker than Naruto. We've seen that when Kawaki shrinks down, Boruto, he isn't able to get a full read on where he is, and in a battle situation, not knowing where your enemy is, it can lead to a problem because all you need is one good off-guard moment to take down your enemy. However, to play devil's advocate, we do know that using Sukuna Hikona does take a lot of chakra to perform the jutsu, and given Kawaki, when it comes to chakra control, isn't the best, it does open up the door for him to run into those issues when fighting Boruto if he over relies on that jutsu during their fight, especially given that, as we've seen in the past, Kawaki isn't necessarily the type to take too kindly to Shinobi methods of training, where Sarada was particularly trying to work with him on his chakra control. Unless he's got Naruto standing over him and walking him through the teaching, the concept of Shinobi training for Kawaki in the manga, it goes out the way, because if Naruto doesn't say it, then the guy, he's more inclined to rely on using ninja tech and the power of the Karma Seal than the Shinobi arts, and that was something that Naruto was trying to break him out of that mindset of doing. But with Naruto gone, that authority figure, that reinforcement, that idol figure, that method of power in terms of acquiring power through that type of training, that's gone as well. Kawaki is more inclined to go back to the methods that Jigen and Kar, they drilled into him, and it's worth noting that he literally said himself that the methods of Jigen's training, it was better than the Shinobi methods. If he already had those doubts in his mind to begin with, if he was already predisposed to think that that method was superior, they weren't going to go away anytime soon. And you could argue even if Naruto was there, he would have still reverted, especially when he had 3 years to sit in Konoha and brood over ways to kill Boruto. If anything, he's leaning even stronger into ninja tech and the Karma Seal because of that, because he referred to using his power to kill Otsutsuki. The thing that Delta, that we have to keep in mind, is that while we have a rough idea where she is in terms of power, stronger than Naruto out Kurama by a wide margin, and it's implied that Amato upgraded her body to be able to fight out Code with limiters, so red-haired Code, the thing that makes Delta an issue is those eye beams of hers, which can destroy the body on a cellular level if you're hit by them, which not even nanotech in Kawaki's body was able to repair the damage, and it's implied that not even a Jinchuriki's regeneration ability would have been able to handle the assault on the body either. However, much like Kawaki with the Sukuna Hikona, that power also comes with its own downsides as well. Most notably that it too consumes a lot of chakra, and it's something that Naruto mocked Delta for, because even someone as stupid as Naruto, who can't draw his way out from underneath a blanket with the GPS in his hand and a shadow clones shouting instructions. Even Naruto could see the effects of spamming those eye beams, what it had on Delta, and he could see the early signs of it wearing down her body, and Boruto was there for that fight, so Boruto would know the weakness as well. Those eye beams are very likely why Boruto won't let the fight drag on, because what's to say Delta fires off one of those eye beams and Boruto teleports away and some random old lady is walking across the street and gets lit up by one of those beams. While insurance companies in Konoha might be getting excited about raising the premium prices on Konoha citizens after this battle, Boruto is going to be in the same situation that Naruto was in when he and Ishiki mixed up in Konoha before Boruto teleported Ishiki away from the battlefield, which is worrying about the damage done to the village as a whole and wanting to mitigate any losses if possible. However, here's why I say Boruto, I don't think he has a ton of trouble in the fight that's coming up, and it's more reasons than just Boruto stronger than both of them, and by stronger I mean being strong enough that he can take them both down at the same time, which that requires a ton more power than just being stronger than them as individuals. Something I don't see get brought up enough when we talk about this whole thing of can someone beat a whole group like the Akatsuki, and we say, well, this guy's stronger than Pain or this guy's stronger than that guy. Fighting a collective is a lot harder than fighting individuals. A perfect example being for how to look at this Boruto situation is Momoshiki's own words in the Boruto movie novelization, where Fuse Momoshiki's monologue is very revealing. He says that if there was a one-on-one fight against those versions of Naruto and Sasuke who weren't at full power due to Sasuke's Rinnegan dimension travel and Naruto having half his chakra absorbed before the fight, if he were fighting them one-on-one, he'd be able to win the fight with ease because he was stronger than each of them as individuals. But taking them on as a collective, it was very frustrating for him because their collective power and how in sync they were in combat was making him panic because he could feel himself losing the battle, which is why he kept trying to separate the two of them multiple times throughout the course of the fight, because he needed that one-on-one situation to walk away with the win. Kawaki and Delta's only hope right now, it is to fight together in sync, but Boruto literally hasn't used the Komasu yet. So there's another tier of power at his fingertips that he hasn't even used yet. And he's got the benefit of also having the flying Raijin. So the moment that he marks either of them, they're done for, because he can just teleport to other places that he has marked around the battlefield, or because he's already marked them, he can forcibly teleport one of them from their current spot on the battlefield and battle them while the other one is left giving chase to rejoin the fight. Boruto right now isn't just strong, he's pesky, and we're about to see what happens when you combine the genius genetics of Minato and Naruto's unpredictable combat style with someone who knows the use of the flying Raijin. It's not something as simple as being strong enough to compete with Boruto in a battle, maybe even defeat Boruto in a hand-to-hand combat setting, because that combination that Boruto has between Minato's genetics and Naruto's unpredictability is enough where you run the risk of overthinking, because you aren't sure if this is part of some larger plan on Boruto's end, or if he's just winging it, and due to those genius genetics, he's taking very subconscious, calculated moves that just happen to pay off for him in ways that you wouldn't expect. Again, I think Boruto wins this fight. I think he wins it without much difficulty, but it comes down to the manner as to how he takes them on, because he has a few options at his disposal. And while Delta isn't the strongest person on that battlefield, she is still pretty strong, and one of the strongest characters at the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, which this video on the screen ranks the 15 strongest Boruto characters.